All right, strap in because the internet has officially gone full conspiracy Thunderdome. Candace Owens just dropped a bomb claiming she has a military whistleblower that says the U.S. military may have been involved in Charlie Kirk's death. Let that sentence sink in for a moment. Now, before we have the Reddit commandos have a stroke, this is just a claim, not a confirmed fact. This is commentary, speculation, internet chaos, and we're going to break it down tactically. Okay. Now, let me start with this. I like Candace Owens. I respect the work she's done. She's been right about a lot of uncomfortable things. She's been wrong about some things. She's getting attacked right now, and in my experience, when the machine attacks you, you have hit a nerve. But this one, I'm just going to say, it's raising an eyebrow. This new theory about Charlie Kirk being killed in some shadow military op. Brother, I served. Many of you served, and nothing about that aligns with reality. Okay? So Candace goes on to say that she was contacted by a guy that claimed that he saw Brian Harpole on base in Arizona September 9th, the same timeline surrounding Charlie Kirk's death. Cool. Let's break that down. I get tips all the time. 90% of them are hot garbage. People mean well, but meaning well and being accurate are two different worlds. Candace says she trusts this guy, okay? Me, I trust two people on earth, and one of them is dead. The story has more holes than a screen door on a submarine, okay? Let me play the clip where she goes through this. It's kind of long, lengthy. I'm going to fast forward through some parts, and we can kind of discuss the rest.
Sure. Okay, so let's pause and just recap there very quickly. And I'm going to tell you what this has to do with Charlie Kirk, okay? So I guess in a sentence, a young military man did his job excellently. He accidentally stumbled upon, or actually, accidentally stumbled upon the fact that our government was implicated, not in fighting the cartels, but working with the cartels. And suddenly he realizes after some time that the government then feeds him, or somebody spitefully, perhaps his commander, fed him to the cartels. And now he's on the run for his life.
Okay, first off, there has been involvement with cartels and the government. We know that. That's not a secret. CIA, and even in the past 2 years, we've seen documentaries that expose people within the Coast Guard helping traffic drugs into America. So that is not a theory. That is something that happened. Now, was this guy involved in something like that? No idea. Was he on the run for his life? No idea. It just sounds a little out there.
What happens over the course of the next 35 years is he's hacked. He says that he goes through abusive litigation. He is harassed. He says there are narco attorneys that attack his credit. He has police records, by the way, for all of this. He has presented evidence for this. But throughout a certain point in time, these police records were virtually disappeared. He had been reporting that hitmen were coming after him. He had names. This is a 35 years long.
I kind of call BS on that. It sounds too far-fetched, but I could be wrong.
Long ordeal. He now has all of his paperwork thanks to some county clerks who did the right thing and were able to dig up these records. But you name it, this man has lived it throughout the last 35 years. Okay. Fast forward to May of 2025, May of this year, and Harry Myers, who now has a new name, by the way, which I'm not saying, but he is finally released from this 35-year military grade NDA. So what does this?
Why would the military have put an NDA on this guy? That doesn't make sense to me.
Now 56-year-old decide to do?
And that means non-disclosure agreement, if you didn't know.
He decides that he's going to confront his past. He wants answers, okay? He wants to know why he was never protected.
I mean, to me, man, who gives a damn if this story were true and I got out of it? You think I'm going to go digging around for some more nonsense to get myself back in a situation? No. Everybody that was involved in that is retired, dead, so on. Why go ask people that were not even in the military then about something that occurred? That doesn't make any sense to me.
He wants to know if the FBI had been informed, and if so, which they were supposed to be, why they didn't do their job. Why didn't they protect?
Again, those people are retired, dead. They're not even going to know what you're talking about.
Harry, he was working for the military and he did his job. He makes up his mind that he's going to deal with this in person. He is going to travel from his home in Washington back down to the very base where this all began, right? To Fort Huachuca, in Arizona. He's going to revisit the past. He's going to get these answers. He books himself to stay in a hotel on the base, a military hotel known as Candlewood Suites. And this is on the evening of September 8th. I want you to remember that, okay? He has been so thorough. He has sent me timestamps, bookings, reservations, went through his call logs. I was like, I want you to pinpoint when everything happened. So he gets to the Candlewood Suites at approximately, on September 8th, 5:37 p.m., checks into the hotel. And you can imagine he's a person that pays a lot of attention to his surroundings, right? When the cartels are after you and your family and you are compelled to change your name, you pay attention to your surroundings to see if anybody looks shady. What he notices is somebody.
The thing is, too, why is the cartel going through so much effort? Again, most of the cartel members that were probably, if your story's true, you were involved with, are probably dead or old men at this point. Why would you need to go through such bizarre things? This sounds kind of Hollywood movie script to me.
Who is special forces in the lobby. He said, you just know when you're dealing with a special forces guy. And
I don't believe that because, you see a lot of the guys on the internet, they may be tatted up, jacked and things like that. But just as many of those guys I have seen when we're talking about Army Special Forces or Green Berets, I've been with guys that look like regular, not overly muscular, no tattoos. You wouldn't be able to tell they were anything. Since I got out, that may have completely changed, but I don't think you can tell anybody. The only group of people that I can tell, and maybe because I was a Marine, but Marines act a little different. That's the only ones I can tell directly. Maybe a Navy SEAL because he may be wearing a bunch of hair gel and writing a book while he's walking. But I don't buy that really either.
he is in the lobby and a young woman, comes down thereafter. That young woman, who at the time he did not recognize, is with him. They kind of fluff around in the lobby while he's checking in. He's on the phone with his wife. And thereafter, the two of them get into a green pickup truck and they drive off. Okay. The next morning,
I'm really not sure what that has to do with the story. Maybe there's something I'm missing. That whole segment of that just seems like what we would call filler. I'm not sure what that would even have to do with anything.
September 9th, he wakes up at around 5:30 a.m. in the morning because he wants to see the sunrise. He says that he then fails at finding the Army Criminal Investigations Department. So he drives off base, just a little ways off base, to get some coffee in Sierra Vista. While getting that coffee, he runs into some soldiers. Again, this is just all God at this point, who happen to be wearing 10th Mountain Division patches. And he's like, that's my old unit. What's going on here? Like that, he thinks his unit's gone. Nothing's going on with this unit for a long time. That it's been torn apart, or I don't know what the military expression is for that. He strikes up a conversation with these young guys, and they tell him, "Oh no, the old Joint Task Force 6 is now being continued, and it's known as JTF, Joint Task Force Southern Border."
So I don't know much about the Army, but I believe 10th Mountain Division is in Fort Drum, New York, or was. I don't know. I could be wrong. Army guys tell me, but why they would be in Arizona this day, I don't know.
Now, for those of you who are like me who don't know, like literally what it sounds like, joint task force, meaning like you can get the Army, Navy, everybody kind of working together on something. And they're like, yeah, it's now JTF Southern Border. And they give him directions of how he can actually get to the new command center. They tell them that they're actually currently borrowing a building down there. And he tells me that there would have been no other way he would have discovered where it was. So his intention was to go to Army CID. Now he's like, wow, I can go directly to the actual JT.
Okay, so what I was looking at while she was talking is that there was 10th Mountain Division headquarters stationed at Fort Huachuca, Arizona, or Huachuca, starting in early 2025 to lead the Joint Task Force Southern Border mission. So Customs and Border Protection through individual soldiers units deployed from Fort Drum to various southern border locations under NORTHCOM's direction. So that part is accurate.
F6, which is now being continued, and get some answers. What luck. It is now around 7:37 a.m. when he enters the new or temporary JTF headquarters, and he sees two guys, and he's pretty impressed. He's like, whoa, these are, again, military term, E4, E5s. He told me that means that they're lieutenant colonels.
I think she means 0405s.
And they are,
because you're looking at if the Army specialist and sergeant
the ones that are checking him in. He happens to walk in at the exact time that they are concluding a meeting, and he is kind of even more impressed because he sees about 12 lieutenant colonels. He tells me, you do not see that many people, that many E4s, E5s, E6s. Please, military guys, forgive me for me not.
It depends. It depends if you see that many together, what's going on, especially if they're doing this southern border operation by direction of Donald Trump. This would be something very likely. So what I would get from this story thus far is he's probably telling the truth. He probably did go to this area. He's got some facts right. So that leads to believe that he was probably in the area where this joint task force was happening. They could have been planning southern border operations.
Knowing what the proper vernacular, but he just goes, well, what's going on? He's like, you don't see this unless you're at the Pentagon or you're at the White House. You just don't see this.
Yeah, that ain't true. You can see that. You can see that kind of stuff anywhere, depending on what's going on in the military.
High up the food chain, lieutenant colonels. He's going, man, this is a pretty important meeting. And then he sees three men walk out, one of which is the person he identifies as the person that's the center of the action, right? He said you could just tell this is the most important person. And he has gray hair. He's got glasses. I believe he said that he's about 5'10". And at this point, he sees that the person that is with him, and he said, certain that the person that is with him is Brian Harpole. Yeah. Okay. Oh, it's about to get even more interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Brian Harpole could look like a bunch of people, especially if you're trying to base it off memory. If you'd had a photograph, maybe. He's trying to base off memory. So it doesn't make sense why he would be there.
So, and again, I'm going to say allegedly because I wasn't there.
If these guys were planning some kind of military southern border, operations, they wouldn't let Brian Harpole show up there.
But I have spoken to this guy, and I very much trust what he is saying. I think he is very credible. Okay. So he sees Brian Harpole come out, this older guy, and what then happens is first the guys that are checking him in are friendly. He explains to them, yeah, this is what happened to me. I just want to speak to somebody. They're like, yeah, let me help you. Then all of a sudden, after Brian.
I would think you were weird as hell. You come in here talking about something that happened 35 years ago. You've been on the run. I would be like, what are you talking about? I'd be like, dude, call somebody. We got a weirdo here is honestly what I would be saying.
Who he believes to be Brian Harpole, who he's not obviously recognized at that time. he would not have known that was Brian Hartpole, but he remembers him, obviously, because then the biggest political assassination since JFK happens. Suddenly, somebody hits the panic button, and 2 captains come out, and they escort him out of the building, and they begin what becomes a 7-hour interrogation. Okay, they think he's a spy. How did you rumble this meeting? How did you know this meeting was taking place? He's being asked a bunch of questions. They're putting pressure on him.
Me being now a civilian and someone is trying to interrogate me in the military for 7 hours, it's not going to happen. I'm going to tell them, no, I'm leaving. You know what I mean? That doesn't make sense unless he was taken into custody. Maybe there's some of the story left out. He might have been taken into custody because he comes into this place talking about something that happened 35 years ago about some kind of narco attorneys, and he had to change his name. I would be like, this is a nut job. I would say I would maybe think he was a terrorist. Who knows? But I think it's he's got some facts right. So I don't think he's lying about going there. I don't think he's lying about being detained, but you never know even someone with credible information could be a little kooky, right? And I'm just being a devil's advocate here. Again, I like Candace. I think she's right about a lot of things. Sometimes she's wrong. No, but I would have liked to talk to her before she dropped this, just because I like to play devil's advocate about things, because I don't like to put out something that may be bullshit, and it's just my personality. I want to be as upfront as possible, especially when we're talking about something of this magnitude implicating people.
Him. I actually want to, if you give me a second, I want to read exactly what he messaged me about what took place. Just, it's incredible. Threat, because I was special forces in the military, EOD in the military. They then attempted to try to gaslight me to see if they could angle an accusation of me.
So he's saying he was EOD and explosive ordnance disposal. They're guys who disassemble or make bombs, essentially, clear mines and those sort of things. But now she's saying that when he was interrogated, that they were trying to make him seem like he was some type of spy.
Me being a threat to others or myself. When all of that fell flat, they then conferenced with base commander after I assumed they verified that I was not there to spy on that particular meeting. They decided it was okay to send me off post.
I don't know that they had to call the base commander unless they thought it was some kind of security breach. Just to be honest, you're not going to bother that guy. He's going to cuss some people out for even be bothered with some nonsense. So maybe they said, calling him to say, hey man, threat's clear. This guy isn't a kooky terrorist.
That's when I drove a Tucson. I got a room. The next morning I turned in my rental car. I got on a plane back home, and I had to stop in Salt Lake. Upon landing and turning on the phone, my wife is telling me about Charlie Kirk. And again, this was just a coincidence.
So believe it or not, whatever, but the military reality check is this. If you even serve 1 year in the military, you already know, man, officers aren't running rogue assassination missions. They're just not. They won't even sign off on an expired leave paperwork without having a panic attack. No officers risking their rank, pension, family, career to murder a political commentator. For what? For what motive? You have chain of command, oversight, accountability. None of this lines up with a clandestine hit job. This is where Hollywood makes people stupid, okay? Now, the other thing is any legit investigation starts with one question. Why? Why would the U.S. military want a political commentator like Charlie Kirk dead? What possible motive is there? Is he exposing military secrets? No, and even then, they would come arrest him. They wouldn't assassinate him. Is he undermining the Pentagon? No. And again, would he be assassinated? Is Charlie Kirk even on the radar of the U.S. military? Tent Mountain, Southern Border Operations? I doubt it. This theory collapses under basic logic. Okay. Now, let's take the other side. And again, I'm not saying that what she got is untrue. I'm just saying from my experience, it just seems like a lot of holes in that story. It seems like maybe someone did go do something. Maybe he interpreted it as something. Maybe he thought he saw someone like Brian that looked like Brian Harpole there. Maybe him being interrogated because he was a potential threat being inside this joint task force, showing up there asking about 35-year-old narco hitmen. I mean, I would be like, yo, you know. But anyway, let's look on the other side of the weird, okay? Charlie's close friend, Andrew Colvett, immediately said, no other theory is possible. The evidence is airtight. Tyler Robinson did it. Check it out.
I am open to a whole flurry of things. What I'm not open to is a theory that Tyler Robinson didn't kill Charlie. Mm-hmm. Who else was involved? Sure, I can talk about that. Was there other?
So immediately, that whole, him saying that, really, dude, that fast, zero hesitation, zero questions. Anytime a group tries to shut down speculation that aggressively, my antennas go off, okay? Nobody in this story looks normal right now. Everyone is acting strange. Not to mention, I saw Erica Kirk doing the $10,000 plate gala, and she said that they have amassed $5 billion. Wow, a lot of money. But the thing is, man, we still have no clear footage of Tyler Robinson, right? Firing a rifle. We got only these blurry Bigfoot level pictures, okay? We still don't have a consistent narrative. So, no, I don't believe Tyler Robinson carried out some clean political assassination with the level of accuracy most infantrymen don't have. And what I mean by that is getting into a position under stress and duress, not taking a 175-yard shot where the hell it was. What I'm saying is infiltrating, taking out a target, and then exfilling and being on the run until mysteriously 33 hours later, he gets turned in. Okay? He would have evaded forever. They would have never caught this guy because the best footage they had was this thing right here. They would have never got Tyler Robinson. So something else is going on here, but that something else is not a rogue military kill team. Let's be adults here, okay? Now, people are attacking Candace, calling her crazy and calling her unhinged. Let me tell you the reality. People don't waste campaigns on crazy people. They ignore them. The only people the machine tries to destroy are the ones who threaten its control. So yeah, Candace is touching nerves. She's getting close to something. But this particular branch of the theory, this was a dead end. Maybe the fact is she's still questioning and she's not buying off on the narrative is the problem with them, because they know this is some dirty, heinous assassination with lots of players involved, and they want people to shut up about it. They want to just go on with that narrative, Tyler Robinson, and so on. Maybe that's why. Or maybe she's saying something that is got some kind of realism to it. But I'll tell you exactly what I believe. I went down this for many videos, so you can go back and watch them if you want to see them. Tyler Robinson didn't do it. The U.S. military wasn't involved. The official story doesn't add up. And someone is working overtime to make sure we stop asking questions. That is what I see. This isn't a military op. It is a cover-up, though, but not by soldiers. More like political handlers, power brokers, and PR cleaners who don't want a martyr narrative, okay? And at the end of the day, Candace is doing what investigators do, chasing leads. Some leads are good, some leads are trash. They just are. That happens to everybody. Everybody, every investigator, every department that you know, the FBI, DEA, local police, some leads are good, some are trash. This one, I think she got fed garbage. But I'm not calling her malicious because she's trying to uncover something real. And in the process, she is stepping on landmines. That's what happens when you speak the truth in a country that punishes it, right? So I would like to know your thoughts, especially guys serving in the military. Let me know if you know anything about the JTF there. Hell, you might have been there the day this guy showed up. Let me know. I'm curious. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And always remember to stay frosty, stay strapped, and always stay dangerous. Black Scout.